Dear members of the Science of Living group, I was busy in question answer programs at the village level in Odisha. Posting of my audio clip on the subject rejection is delayed for this reason. I am sorry for this. Discussion in the group were to the point and very interesting. It is no use of giving my viewpoints on the discussions. I will attempt to answer the questions asked to me by the prospective members. Resma Naik's question is, I feel to do this rejection is very difficult but not impossible. How to do rejection in our practical life? Yes, rejection is very difficult, but if we can aspire to rise into a higher consciousness, with that aspiration we practice rejection, then it will not be so difficult as we feel now. Sri Aurobindo says, merely to remain in the ordinary lower consciousness and to try to reject from there the wrong movements can produce no permanent or complete result. Though our mind and physical wants to reject the lower things, but our vital clings for the sake of drama and gets perverted pleasure from these things. The vital wants these things in order to give a spice to life. Many of us want to reject the lower vital itself. But Sri Aurobindo says, you cannot get rid of the lower vital itself, for it is necessary part of the manifested nature, like the higher vital or the mind. It has to be changed in the power of the higher consciousness, not left to itself. If the lower vital is beginning to reject it, the rest is only a matter of some time. If you bring down the peace into the vital, it will be liberated, for even if wrong movements come, it will be able to reject them. The mother gives us the practical method to bring down the peace into us. She says, as an idiot does, who repeats the same thing always, you must repeat peace, peace, peace. So you try this for a few minutes and then do what you have to do. And then another time you begin again, sit down again and then try. Do this on getting up in the morning, do this in the evening when going to bed, and there comes a time when you no longer need to sit down, and no matter what you are doing, no matter what you are saying, it is always peace, peace, peace. It is as though you were learning how to call a friend. By dint of being called he comes. Well, make peace and calm your friends and call them, come, peace, peace, peace. Sri Aurobindo says, by constant rejection, not for 2 or 3 days, but always, so long as they insist or return. If you reject and refuse to listen or believe always, it will disappear. The idea of helplessness and not being able to reject has to go. The power to refuse and reject is always there in the being, and to go on rejecting till the rejection is effective. The more we are conscious of the mother during the rejection, the more will be with us the power of rejection. But we must reject the least doubt in us about the effectiveness of the grace. The mother says, for the grace to help you, you must fulfill the conditions, and the very first condition is to reject all doubt, however slight. To revolt is to reject the divine love, and only the divine love has the power to save. Sometimes we have no power of rejection. In that case, we must try to remain detached and control ourselves as far as possible. And the very important thing is not to expect the lower things to enter in us because of past trend. A sadhaka said to the mother, the attack came last Sunday and the Sunday before, so I thought that it might come in this Sunday too. The mother replied, it is better to reject these thoughts because they help to bring the attack. Sanjeev's question is, What are the ways and the means to control and reject our desire for food, sex, power, etc. from our inmost being? Regarding overcoming of desire, following rejection practices can be followed. 1. Reject the ideas of taking little or excess food. Sri Aurobindo says, to take a moderate amount is best. 2. Reject the idea of disliking food, because the desire for food may remain in spite of the dislike. 3. Reject the idea of suppression. When we say, I cannot help desiring, but I will not satisfy my desire, it is called suppression. Of course, refusal of food accompanied by detachment is helpful to overcome the desire for food. Self-control is not suppression. When we say, I refuse the desire as well as the satisfaction of the desire, it is called self-control. Self-control practice is the effective method to overcome the desire for food. 4. Reject the idea of giving more importance to what to eat and what not. We have to learn to regard food as only a physical necessity, and the vital satisfaction of the stomach and the palate as a thing of little or no importance. Sri Aurobindo says, put the food element in the right place in the life, in a small corner, and don't concentrate on it, but on other things. Regarding overcoming the sex desire, following rejection practices can be followed. First, rejection our attention, thoughts and imaginations about sex, and make ourselves busy with something more interesting, from the most material to the most spiritual. Sri Aurobindo says, think less of sex and more of the divine. To let the memory or imagination dwell on things that excite the sex desire is unhealthy for the sadhana and an obstacle to the development of the yogic consciousness. Discourage these imaginations and memories when they come. The imagination means a consent of the physical or else the vital mind. Otherwise, sex sensation is often only due to the physical causes, and if not supported by this automatic assent of a part of the mind, would be for long diminished in its habit of recurrence. Second, reject the desire to eat meat, onion, chilies, etc. because these are sufficient to increase the sexual desire. Third, reject the lower vital law. If we can bring forward our psychic being, then the lower vital law will be replaced by the psychic law. Sri Aurobindo says, in the pure psychic law, there is no trace of the sex desire. Regarding the overcoming of desire for power, following rejection practices can be followed. Reject the idea that desire for power will help us to become great. On the contrary, the vital beings will take the advantage to deceive us. The mother says, these beings make fun of you. This begins very well, very brilliantly, and usually finishes very badly. You will begin by deceiving yourself. You will live in increasing illusions, and you will fall back into a greater and greater obscurity. If we can intensify our aspiration for perfection by the will to do the best possible for the divine sake, the desire for power will fall away from our consciousness. Sarita's question is, what are the steps to reject our anger? How can we conquer our anger through love? When our rejection will become spontaneous? Following are the steps to reject our anger. First, reject the idea that anger is our strength. The mother says, it is the ego that gets angry. Any expression of anger is a sign of lack of self-control. If, for example, you have been angry during the day, you see, there are many chances that at night you will be in a vital fight for some time. You lost forever all possibilities of exercising any authority over your students. Second, reject the idea that anger is our character. Our character is only responsible to respond the vibration of anger around ourselves. The mother says, It is true, there is something in your character which answers to the force of anger. And if you have besides some affinity with these forces, you may get angry without even knowing why. Third, reject the anger by the help of the mother. The mother says, it is better to forget your anger quickly. And if that is not possible, then you must tell me very simply what has happened so that I may remove the anger from the consciousness. My force is with you from the moment you decide to overcome this weakness which is unworthy of you. So I ask you from now on to use this force I am giving you to control your reactions and to remain quiet until your anger has passed. This is the first indispensable step. Afterwards, I shall gradually help you to understand that your anger is unjustified and has no basis. Fourth, reject the anger by bringing down peace and developing a perfect tolerance, an understanding of the point of view of others, a clear and tranquil vision. Regarding the conquer our anger through love, the Lord Buddha said, by love conquer anger. How? Let me give you an example of Swami Vivekananda. He was a doubter. He could not blindly accept what Ramakrishna preached. He would say all the time, I do not believe all you say. You must give me the proof. Then one day Ramakrishna lost his temper and said, then why do you come to me? And began to abuse him. And Vivekananda gave a reply, I come to you because I love you. Then Ramakrishna forgot all his anger, embraced him. That is what love is. When our vital being will seek the divine, our passion will be changed into psychic love and our anger will be changed into equanimity. Sri Aurobindo says, the purified heart is rid of anger, rid of fear, rid of hatred, rid of every sinking and repulsion. It has a universal love. Infinite peace, universal love can remove anger if they are complete and stable. The ordinary vital human love is full of contrary movements of distrust, misunderstanding, jealousy, anger, despair. Regarding our spontaneous power of rejection, our psychic opening will make everything easy and spontaneous. Sri Aurobindo says, in the psychic opening condition, intensity, concentration will come of themselves, not by a hard effort or tense strain on the nature. Regarding rejection of wrong movements, frank confession of defects are not only not incompatible, but helpful to it. But this attitude makes the rejection, the confession easy, spontaneous, entirely complete, and sincere and effective. Subhash Bhai's question is, at times I feel some of the above forces remain very silent within and attack with great intensity soon after. How to deal with these hiding enemies? As long as our lower vital nature consents, approves, and supports attacking enemies, they will find the place to hide in us. It is very difficult to change our lower vital nature. Sri Aurobindo says, I myself took full 12 years to learn it thoroughly. And even after I knew the principle well enough, it took me quite 4 years and more to master my lower nature in this respect. But you have the advantage of my experience and my help. You will be able to do more rapidly if you consciously and fully assist me by not associating yourself with the enemy desire. There is another beautiful way to weaken the strength of the enemies within, that is, our hearty smile. The mother says, a laugh of self-confidence and of faith in the divine is most shattering strength possible. It disrupts the enemy's front, spreads havoc in the ranks, and carries you triumphantly onwards. If one smiles at him, he is completely disarmed. He can do nothing any longer. But one must smile sincerely. We must always keep smiling. In the end, good always comes out of such things. Mita's question is, how one can overcome the negative vibes and how one will reject sincerely? Is there any process? Sometimes I feel it is very difficult to reject those natures which are dwelling in us since many years. Please guide me. Yes, there is a process of overcoming the negative vibes. First, we should try to eliminate the effects of negative vibes from the consciousness by chanting constantly the Mother's name. Then we will feel that the Lord has now taken us into His arms in the midst of bad vibrations. Second method is to cut off all mental and vital connections with those people who carry with them the negative vibes. Third method is for those who can inspire people to come out of their negative vibes. Fourth method is for those who have the knowledge and the power to set right all the adverse vibrations. They have to feel the atmosphere of others in them and set right the negative vibes. The fifth method is to abolish the sense of separation from the Supreme Divine. To stop entry of bad vibrations, the Mother said, "As for me, I have only one method. It is self-evolution, that the Supreme alone exists." Mita's question is, my question is, when we are working with the children, how we can work with them on this topic, rejection? How can we help each other in the process of rejection? How the normal school syllabus could focus on these topics for children? The mother was asked by a sadhak how to prepare children for the rejection of falsehood. The mother replied, the teacher must absolutely possess the qualities and the consciousness he wants his student to acquire. Regarding school syllabus, Sikrit Joshi says, the present syllabus system must undergo a major modification. Programs of study should be much more flexible. Students and teachers should have the possibility of changing the programs according to the students' evolving needs. In fact, syllabi should be evolutionary in character, developing and emerging out of the interests of the students and their goals. The syllabus in the elementary school should also have good component which will provide inspiration to lead a life of self-control. This control will give to the student the power of rejection. The mother was not allowing anything to come in contact with the children which was detrimental to their consciousness. Pranabdha has given a beautiful incident in this regard. Once we received a film on the life of the musician Chopin, but after viewing it, mother rejected it. She explained to us that whenever she would hear Chopin's music, she would feel uneasy. Now after seeing this film, she understood the reason for her uneasiness. Chopin became very ill towards the end of his life, yet despite his illness, he went on touring Europe, giving concerts in order to raise money for the freedom struggle in Poland. There were times when Chopin, while playing on the piano in a concert, would cough up blood. He would quietly wipe off the blood with his handkerchief without stopping to play. That gives us the measure of his patriotism. Naturally, something of the vibration of his illness crept into his music, and this is why mother felt a vibration of illness whenever she heard his music. And so she rejected the film because she did not want the ashram children to observe that vibration of illness. On another occasion, we received a Hindi film about rebirth. After seeing it, I narrated to mother its contents. Mother said, what has been said in the film about rebirth is incorrect, and rejected the film. She also cancelled Othello. Although from an artistic point of view the film was remarkable, it did not fit it with the ashram atmosphere. Mother gave great importance to a film's theme and intentions. Mithun's question. Remember and offer. How this mantra will help towards our sadhana of rejection? Just like the background music of sitar in every song, in every forms of sadhana, like aspiration, rejection and surrender, the background mantra of remember and offer ought to be there. Sri Aurobindo says, the mother's force will act and bring the result in its own time, provided one offers to her and aspires and is vigilant, calling and remembering her all the times, rejecting quietly all that stands in the way of the action of her transforming force. Keep yourself open to the mother, remember her always, and let her force work in you, rejecting all other influences. That is the rule for yoga. The mother says the adverse force always tries to take possession of the life of human beings. But at that moment, people must remember the divine and reject the false suggestions. The best way to get rid of all adverse forces and their suggestions is to repeat constantly the divine's name while eating, sleeping, and in whatever you do. I want the divine and nothing else. When you fall sick or something wrong happens, you should pray to the divine to remove all obstacles which are on the way to prevent you from reaching the goal. If the call is sincere enough, at once all obstacles will disappear. If you form a habit to pray constantly, the prayers become sincere because the divine is always in the depth of everybody's heart and always he hears all sincere prayers. If the call is sincere enough, at once all the obstacles will disappear. Papu's question is, I can to an extent understand what it means to offer one's money or time or anything that feels tangible or positive to her or for her work. But what it really means when we say we offer our anger at her feet. When we offer any tangible things, our senses perceive that something is given out, and to that extent our possession is reduced. This reduction of our possession don't gives us a sense of sacrifice, but gives us a sense of joy and inner fulfillment. Similarly, when we offer our psychological characters, we have to feel that those characters are no more with us. For example, when we offer our anger to the divine, we will feel that calmness and equanimity are replacing the anger vibrations in us. Nalnida says, offering means putting in contact with the divine. Our offering will be successful when our practice of offering inspires our lower vital being to offer the lower nature it commands. Sri Aurobindo says, the lower vital aspires by offering all its small movements in the fire of purification, by calling for the light and power to descend into it and rid it of its little greeds, jealousies, resistances, and revolts over small matters, angers, vanities, sexualities, etc., to be replaced by the right movement governed by selflessness, purity, obedience to the urge of the divine force in all things. Whether our tangible things or our psychological nature, our offering should originate from our inner feeling, free from all egoistic motives. The mother said to Prithvi Singh, I had advised you to sell the necklace because that seemed in the circumstances the most reasonable thing to do. But since you are moved by your inner feeling to offer the necklace to me, it is not possible for me to refuse it. There are certainly no motives of ego in what you express in your letter, but a very fine, delicate and psychic movement. Ruby's question is, I have read in a book that ego is the helper and ego is the bar. How can ego help in our sadhana of rejection? Our present form of individuality is prepared by the ego with the help of our lower natures like desire, ambition, etc. Up to this work, ego is a helper. In this individual form, the ego reigns our life with its ministers like desire, ambition, etc. Now the time has come to form a psychic individuality where the divine will rule our life by rejecting the ego along with its ministers. So ego will be the bar to the rejection process rather than a helper. Sometimes it helps to reject some lower nature in order to empower another lower nature. This help is not a real help to the process of rejection. This is why the mother says, ego is the helper so long as it is needed to form the physical individuality. But when that is formed, ego must disappear. The ego must be dissolved, must merge with the divine, disappear in him. The sadhakas must be conscious of the divine presence in themselves, and for that, the ego must be silenced and desire must disappear. The ego persists because of our lower nature. Once we reject lower nature, our consciousness can be widened, and the widened consciousness is necessary to liberate us from the ego. Sri Aurobindo says, we have to get rid of the ego in order to be divine. The ego persists because of three things. First, because we think we are the body. Secondly, because of desire. And thirdly, because of mental idea that I am a separate being existing in my own mind and body independently of everything and everybody else. It is rather a wider than a higher consciousness that is necessary for the liberation from the ego. Going high is necessary, of course, but by itself it is not sufficient. Braja Bhai's question is, one single topic I am in doubt. Sri Aurobindo speaks of rejecting ideas from mind's plane, but what is the difference between ideas and thoughts? What to reject, whether thought or ideas? Please clarify me. Knowledge is obtained from the total identification with the divine. Ideas are only the translation of this knowledge, and thoughts are the expression of the ideas. Sri Aurobindo says, above the thoughts there are pure ideas. Thoughts serve to express the pure ideas, and knowledge is well above the domain of pure ideas, as these are well above the thought. We must hence know how to climb from the thought to pure idea. And pure idea is itself nothing but translation of knowledge. And knowledge can be obtained only by a total identification. One idea can have many contrary thoughts. And when contrary thoughts are harmonized, one can climb towards an idea. If an idea is wrong, we can reject that idea. When an idea is rejected, then all the thoughts related to that idea are also rejected. The mother says the idea is translated into all kinds of thoughts. They may be the most contradictory thoughts, and the whole thing is to organize them in a coherent way. I think I have told you many times that contradictory thoughts may be found in union if one rises high enough, climbs towards the idea. I am going to propose this immediately. Man is mortal. The antithesis is man is immortal. Now find the place where the two agree, the synthesis. One could say, in his reality, man is immortal, and because of ignorance or of unconsciousness, he has become mortal. Similarly, there can be many ideas which can be organized around a central idea. The mother says, organization of one's ideas around a central idea, a higher ideal, or a supremely luminous idea that will serve as a guide in life. We can also reject unwanted thoughts till we climb to the idea that is expressed in the forms of thoughts. Sanjeev's last question is there any difference between vital mind and mental vital? How to be aware of their working? Anilvaran says, it is not easy to distinguish mental vital and vital mental unless one has necessary subtlety of observation or the habit of the differentiated experience. It is true, because Sri Aurobindo includes mental vital in the four centers of the mind, yet says that in the vital there is mental vital. Now, I will read out two contrary statements of Sri Aurobindo. Mind's four centers: crown of the head, higher mental center; between the eyebrows, center of will and vision; throat, center of externalizing mind; 4. Heart, mental vital, emotional center with the psychic behind it. In the vital there is mental vital. If mental vital is the mental part of the vital that is there between throat and heart. There is also a contradiction regarding the vital mental. In one place he says vital mental belongs to mental plane. In another place he says vital mental do not belong to the mental plane. Now I will read out two contrary statements of Sri Aurobindo. Moreover, in mind there is a vital mental. Aesthetic sense belongs to the mental plane, the vital mental. Second, question to Sri Aurobindo: does not poetry like that of Tagore come from the mental plane? Sri Aurobindo answers, no, it does not come from the mental plane. At best it is from the vital mind or vital mental that it comes. Of course, Sri Aurobindo has clarified about the contrary statements. He said, it is difficult to put the distinction in language, and even if one could, it would be very inadequate and partial. However, to clarify more about these things, I will read out the mother's statement. The mother says, each part of the being is itself divided into four. There is a physical mind, a physical vital, a physical, and there is even a physical psychic which is behind. Well, there is a vital mind, vital, and vital physical, and also vital psychic which is behind and hidden. And there is a mental mind, a mental vital, and a mental physical, and mental psychic which is hidden behind. Thank you very much.